language. I think that if we are effectively to be able to promote work-based learning as an option to make training more accessible, then we all have to be using common terms. And so we are going to record this session, and I just hit that button. So we'll get rolling here a lot faster as we proceed. Work-based learning is a combination of career preparation and career training. Career preparation really is allowing for citizens to obtain some industry-specific working skills. This is usually related to post-secondary training. The acquiring of the skills are more contextual, so they might actually go to a work setting or a simulated work environment that allow citizens to engage in work-based activities. Career preparation type of programs might involve supportive services that help someone to be able to actually engage in something new. And we also see that this is a many times something that would be labeled as a pre-apprenticeship, an internship, clinicals, practicum. We also in Missouri have school-based enterprises and programs like CAPS. And then we get to career training, which is a lot of what my daily work is focused on. And that is the on-the-job learning experience that happens underneath a skilled mentor. So mentors would be supervising our citizens in a learning experience. So it's going to be industry specific, but it might include multiple industries. But it'll involve paid employment, cooperative learning, apprenticeships, work experience, work study, and on-the-job learning. So this is our continuum for work-based learning that the Office of Apprenticeship and Work-Based Learning, which is a council of different state agencies, will be building out and being able to offer as a common language support to those who serve individuals on that entry point into workforce or training. Specifically, I focus a lot of my energy on apprenticeship and expansion. Just to give you some idea about Missouri and apprenticeship expansion and how big it is, Missouri really does have a vast intermediary network that is used to support program development and success. We have almost 4,000 employers using registered apprenticeship in order to train their workforce. We have, this is a little dated, we have almost 500 registered apprenticeship programs here in Missouri. We have a few more than what the slide says. And we actually have more employers engaged with registered youth apprenticeship than any other state. We also are able to boast that for 2 years in a row that we've had more completers and new apprentices than every state except California. So even though we might not be one of the world's leading economies like California, we still know how to get people into training and then commit to them and see them through completion. Want to be able to actually walk through what apprenticeship is and be able to help you understand how it can be an option to be able to assist people to be able to earn and learn. Apprenticeship's an industry-driven, high-quality career pathway in which workers can obtain paid work experience, classroom instruction, and a transferable credential. Then we have employers on the other side preparing their future workforce. So apprenticeship combines on-the-job training, technical training, it involves wage progression, and the result is skilled and certified workers. We like to offer up talking points for why would someone choose apprenticeship. We really do have employers facing challenges as far as being able to hire their ideal candidates. And a lot of times we do have to manage expectations and help them understand that, to help someone be successful on the job, you might need to look at what you are doing for onboarding and training of that individual. So, really, registered apprenticeship is an entire talent management system that allows them to craft the training the way that they need to address the needs that they say are affecting them so much. Maybe they have a lack of talent with the necessary skills, or maybe their actual job descriptions require a specific credential already. Um, Apprenticeship gives them the option to employ that individual before they have the credentialing that they normally require. It helps them to develop agile, adaptable workers that can keep pace with changing technology. If something new comes along that they need to be trained on, they can just fold it into the registered apprenticeship program. Um, they actually often experience a lack of workforce diversity, and that's a problem in reporting, like with your recruitment practices and whether or not you are opening up the pipeline to all individuals. Employers a lot of times will experience staff turnover in key positions, and you might be able to find a pain point at a specific type of position that experiences high turnover, and apprenticeship can be a solution for that. They may have difficulty actually keeping a steady pipeline of talent flowing into their organization. And so apprenticeship actually brings all types of individuals and organizations to the table to be able to create registered apprenticeship programs, and then also have different options for accessing talent. And they also have a need for rapid and responsive workforce training. So the things that they need uh, might be different in 4 years' time. An apprenticeship can keep pace with advancing technology. They can allow them to be able to, um, adapt to the needs and demands of industry. And then the employers actually take ownership of coming up with a solution for their problems, their talent management problems, or their talent pipelining problems, by actually having an active hiring and training strategy. Benefits to employers: saving money on recruitment and wages due to reduced turnover, having a customized pipeline of skilled workers, increased productivity and innovation, positive return on investment. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Um, and they also are able to onboard new hires and engage their current workforce with the most skilled mentors within their workplace, and they give a structure to it. Really, they are able to define what training looks like in their company and help to develop a culture of sharing as far as training and development goes for their own workforce. The return on investment piece, I have a couple of visuals a little bit later that might be useful, but key to that is that you hire on a new apprentice at a lower wage than what you would for a more productive worker. And the benefits of doing that a lot of times have to be communicated to an employer for them to see that. Apprenticeship also ensures that a career pathway is not just a dream, but it's an accessible reality. So apprenticeship is not a new thing. It has been around for 84 years here in the United States as a recognized program. And it includes a wide range of occupations. Used to, really traditionally be in the skilled trades. The apprenticeship system as we see it now has been expanding significantly since 2016 to include occupations that go beyond the traditional types of occupations served by apprenticeship. But those traditional occupations also have recruitment needs. And so we are seeing expansion in every single industry that we tend to serve through apprenticeship. And Apprenticeship Missouri is a product of the U.S. Department of Labor. And we also have a lot of initiatives that play right into this with the Office of Workforce Development, including the Missouri Job Center Connect. Registered apprenticeships are employer driven. And so that means that an employer will play an active role in the creation of each program. Apprenticeships are the type of training that an employer wants, not just what a training provider tells them would be useful to them. By playing an active role, they ensure that the training that they're requiring for their employees is relevant to the job and the tasks that they would be completing, and that they earn the credentials that matter to that employer and then others in that particular industry. All registered apprenticeships feature structured on-the-job learning. So that means that apprentices will receive hands-on training from an experienced mentor at the job site. And this is not going to be less than 1 year. So the average apprentice progresses around 2,000 hours per year in an apprenticeship. Some programs do actually graduate after a year's time. Others can be 5 or 6 years long. It really depends on the occupation, on how long that program would be. We have a lot of registered youth apprenticeships, for example, that they might complete the classroom portion much earlier than what they complete the on-the-job learning portion, because you can't squeeze 2,000 hours any more than what you're able to do within a year. We have a lot of really great intermediaries out there who take on roles of helping apprentices through this process. I see a question in the chat. I want to make sure I go ahead and address that. It says, how does a student or graduate access this apprenticeship program? Is it based on family income? So there are a number of ways that individuals can access apprenticeship programs. We do have a website that just launched this past year that is a portal to connect individuals to apprenticeship programs. Not every apprenticeship is listed on there yet, unfortunately, but I will put the address in the chat. WillApprenticeConnect.com actually is the website that you can go to view our apprenticeship playbook and also openly recruiting apprenticeship programs. There might be other apprenticeship programs that are recruiting, but unfortunately the Department of Labor does not do a very good job of listing those out and helping you to know what is a good opportunity. That's why we have a Missouri specific one. You can explore all apprenticeship activities at apprenticeship.gov. That's the national website. And so you can learn so much information by using those two resources alone to be able to know how to connect. We also have champions for apprenticeship that work for all different state agencies located throughout the state. And we engage those champions at a local level and then at a state level to ensure that they know about apprenticeship. And we include partners in on the development of apprenticeship so we can help people um, be be able to get into apprenticeship programs. So, for example, whenever we created an apprenticeship program, it's not just the Office of Workforce Development and the U.S. Department of Labor creating it. We're coming alongside state agencies like Department of Mental Health, Department of Social Services. We have uh, vocational rehabilitation, rehab services for the blind. We have identified champions with all of those agencies that are informed of the new opportunities as they get built. We also will help to connect employers to school districts or career tech ed centers for options for recruiting. Okay, so back to the core components of apprenticeship. Structured on the job learning is really the thing that I think is most unique about apprenticeship because it takes time. That's one thing that you can't mess with in an education is the amount of time that it takes to be able to demonstrate your new skill. Um, it's not just being able to know how to do it and have competency to do it once, but to do it to the satisfaction of your mentor. Related technical instruction is actually the thing that we're probably the most familiar with whenever it comes to education. This looks much like typical training that might exist, but it's more flexible. So, and a related technical instruction for a registered apprenticeship is actually what we would call the classroom portion piece. So this could be provided by a college or a university, or maybe a career tech ed center, an apprenticeship training school, or even by the business that is sponsoring the apprenticeship themselves. There are many businesses out there that set up their own little school within their shops and within their workforce training areas to ensure that people learn the way that they want them to learn. And this type of instruction can be provided on site at a school, online, or at the job site. We actually have a lot of intermediaries that offer related technical instruction for our registered apprenticeships, including our community colleges, universities, as well as our local school districts, career tech ed centers, and additional training providers that might be third party that we might not normally think that have chosen to use apprenticeship as a training model. Apprenticeship always has at least one wage increase. And so that means that apprentices, as they are becoming more productive and more valuable to that employer, that they receive a wage gain. And so if your knowledge increases, your ability to demonstrate that knowledge increases, it makes sense to reward that with a pay raise. Apprentices are rewarded and motivated by those wage increases. They learn more, they get paid more. A lot of registered apprenticeship sponsors understand the value of investing on the front end and seeing that payoff as that individual is progressing throughout their apprenticeship program. At the end of every registered apprenticeship program, there is a national occupational credential. And so that is a credential that is recognized nationally, and it is for the completion and the competency of all of the standards that are a part of a registered apprenticeship program. The standards are based on nationally recognized standards. And so that credential that they earn in the end is specific to an occupation and actually it means something to every employer that operates within that industry. And since it is a credential, the value with that is it's a portable credential. If I have a registered apprenticeship credential in Missouri, it's going to mean the same thing in Montana. And that credential is something that is valued by employers. They typically know what it means. Apprenticeship.gov is also a really great place to be able to explore what the standards would be and the work processes are required in order to earn that national occupation credential. The portability of that, it really, I will say that each apprentice that graduates, they get a certificate. It's signed by the U.S. Department of Labor, and that credential goes with them. So even if they don't stay with the employer, which we usually want them to stay with the employer that trained them, but no matter where their life leads, they have that credential that goes with them. We know that not every college degree keeps its relevance. Not every you know credential that we earn is going to mean something to every employer we encounter. I'd say that this type of certification, this credential, allows you to be able to be recognized on a larger scale than many others do. So I hinted a little bit earlier about like how we work with agencies and organizations, community action agencies. There's all different types of partners that we actually collaborate with in order to ensure that apprenticeship is able to be a, a training option for all Missourians. So we focus on the labor market and industry trends of local areas. We help to connect to the wide range of apprenticeship options. We help individual entities be aware of any funding streams that might be available to employers or apprentices. Um, there might be programs out there that fold into apprenticeship that do have eligibility requirements. We reach out to organizations all the time and we work with those partner agencies to make sure that individuals are able to access those. The supply of potential apprentices are something that we are passionate about. I think that's demonstrated through the portal, Missouri Apprentice Connect. We actually believe in active listening and responding to employer needs in that way. And then we have that team of champions across the state that helps to connect employers to the next right thing. And so what we do is offer infrastructure and support for the development of programs and also access to the talent that needs to get into the programs. And so a lot of what we do on a day to day is develop new programs and then help people connect to existing and new programs. We help businesses train and recruit staff with the right skills through the use of apprenticeships. We also help to attract new talent and develop existing workers. So apprenticeship actually can be used with people who are already employed and what we call incumbent workers. Apprenticeship oftentimes starts with incumbent workers that are already hired in order to prove the model to an employer. We talk to employers and we ask questions like, are your workers keeping up with industry advances? What positions do you have that have the highest turnover? What is your current and future labor needs? If they look out over their workforce, is a large percentage of them retiring? What we are, focused on is being able to develop new opportunities for those pain points. And the only way that you're going to be able to develop relevant programming is if you are actively listening to needs. We also have a return on investment calculator to help business see the return on investment. Really, it's about the individual being trained, and so it's about helping an individual access a career that they normally would not be able to access without training. Apprenticeship helps them do that. It helps us to be able to advocate for an individual to be considered and help to show the value over time in investing in them. I mentioned the compensation schedule earlier as far as someone is rewarded for being more productive. So in this example, you can see for the first 6 months, they have a flat rate of 60% of the full wage. And then they would receive a wage increase for that 7th month. And that would be maybe 20% more of where you're trying to get them to at 100%. It's very expensive to keep hiring people on at 100% compensation and not having them productive for that first year and still paying them at 100% because you think that that's what you have to do to retain the workforce. Apprenticeship allows you to invest in that individual over time and be able to have the outcomes that you want and has a positive effect on retention. Here's an example from a partnership with the Department of Mental Health. We developed this to help them be able to describe what a period of apprenticeship and experienced worker investment looks like. So the employer costs are really on the front end. And a lot of times it's whenever that individual is being paid at a lower level. So at that lower level, they are able to, be compensated a little bit lower, and the employer's investing in the cost of the curriculum and development, all the normal program overhead, tuition, the mentor's time, the normal costs of onboarding an individual. That doesn't go away no matter if you have an apprenticeship or not. And then 6 months time, there's a wage increase. If you're having to turn over staff every 6 months because you're having difficulty retaining them, then that employer cost starts all over again. If you're able to retain them by continuously engaging them in learning and showing them what their career pathway looks like, you actually help them to stay more often. And so even though over time you pay them more, you're getting more productivity out of them and you're getting people who will stay longer, reducing that cost of having to pay for training every 6 months for a new hire based off of, not being able to retain people. The experienced worker wage might be higher, um, or it might not be a lot higher than what the entry level wage is. But no matter what, once you've trained them and you have an apprentice graduate, or what we would call a journey worker, they become an employee that is able to contribute to those that you're training, the new hires, and creating that culture of learning within your own workforce. There are funds that help individuals be able to access training like this. In workforce development, we're associated with WIOA Title 1B funds. That includes a program called On-the-Job Training, which can cover the costs of on-the-job learning. And we also, for registered apprenticeship, have options for funding the related training and instruction, or the RTI of an apprenticeship, through local WIOA funding. Accessing that depends on good relationships with the Workforce Development Board and being able to develop the relationships that actually wrap around supports for an individual. Individuals may qualify based on income or other barriers. They may be able to access, tools to success, such as actual tools, books, uniforms, or other items that are determined to be supportive services for that program. We also have apprenticeship state expansion funds that help to get people into apprenticeship programs. So this is training funds that actually run through my office, Apprenticeship Missouri. And what we do is partner with registered apprenticeship sponsors and intermediaries to be able to expand apprenticeship and help individuals be able to pay for the costs. And that's a fund that allows us to support the related technical instruction or offer supportive services for that individual. And like I said earlier, this state expansion funds, Apprenticeship Missouri, really what we do is offer a lot of support and infrastructure to provide technical assistance and development. I mentioned earlier our tool, Missouri Apprentice Connect. Missouri Apprentice Connect is our matching tool for employers and potential apprentices. You can think of it as a dating site for apprenticeship. It is a place where someone can create a profile of themselves as a worker, add their resume, have their own little spot to shine. And then also employers can actively search for those potential apprentices. They can post their own openings for apprenticeship, and the connection can happen. That matching tool is something that's a new idea, um, or actually it's a new tool off of an old idea. We've always wanted something like this, and we were not satisfied by what the Department of Labor was giving us to help people know about apprenticeships. So this is our option. We have a blog on there. We have a lot of new ways that we want to outreach to different populations using this tool. So feel free to follow up with me if you are interested in how we can engage best, with the individuals you serve. Missouri Apprentice Connect does have a blog. It does have focuses on different regions. It's got a lot to it. The apprenticeship playbook is something I would recommend that you not miss. You as an individual, unless you're looking to be an apprentice, do not need to create an account to be able to see everything on there. So there's no need to log in or register unless you are specifically looking to be an apprentice or offering an apprenticeship. So you can see everything. Nothing's behind closed doors here. So I really do like that about this site. On that site, you'll see things like why apprenticeship, which we went over earlier. You'll see that there's a wide variety of occupations on there. Our apprenticeship has multiple occupations that, you never thought, could be an apprenticeship. We're working with the Community Action Agency now to create a beekeeping apprenticeship. And I have a staff member who's a beekeeper who's very excited about that. So you might not think about it, but there are a lot of options out there in apprenticeship. We even have one for winemaking. Partnership for us is the thing that makes apprenticeship work. You'll see around this wheel that the puzzle all points to employers, but we can't do this alone. So we work with workforce systems, Missouri community colleges and agencies, secondary education, economic development, our community resources, community-based organizations, through nonprofit sector, and our labor organizations. And then the apprenticeships themselves, a lot of times are maybe sponsored by a training provider or maybe offered by an employer. We all have unique roles that we play in order to meet the unique needs of, talent management that every employer has. And so we come together, we figure out how our resources fit together, and be able to offer the type of program that works for the employer and for the individual that needs training. We've done a number of pilot programs. This is an example of something that we've done in order to support the development of apprenticeship, really looking at pre-apprenticeship now and how that can help individuals be able to access training that they need. Our pilot program with WorkAble Missouri was a partnership between Vocational Rehabilitation, Abilities First, and Ozark Technical Community College. It focused on industries in hospitality, customer service, and agriculture, and employer partners were Wonders of Wildlife and Dogwood Canyon. The investment of time of all these partners ensured that new pathways would open up to individuals served by all of those entities. So people were able to access training in areas that maybe they had, never considered being able to work into. We have, individuals that now, work in stables at Dogwood Canyon, and are, having opportunities that they didn't have before. They, of course, run into barriers along the way, and that's where our partnerships really can shine. So if somebody has a problem with housing, it's not just, oh, sorry, um, uh, maybe next semester you'll be able to re-enroll. It's like, well, who do we find to help this individual out so they can access the housing that they need? So partnerships are what make apprenticeship work. And we are excited to partner with new organizations and individuals every day. Really are building a significant solution for training in Missouri. We have a vast intermediary network, so that means that we have people providing different things, or organizations providing different things. The only thing that's consistent is that the employer provides the on-the-job learning. That's the employer's skin in the game. They're going to dedicate a mentor to be able to take care of that apprentice and ensure that they're learning. Missouri Apprentice Ready is our pre-apprenticeship opportunity that we have just launched this year. We have 10 new pre-apprenticeship programs. Our partnerships include school districts, local workforce development boards, community colleges, and labor management organizations. Through this, we've developed a certified high-quality pre-apprenticeship framework. If you're interested in seeing that, please reach out to me. We will be serving over 300 Missourians and helping to talent pipeline into 42 registered apprenticeship programs. And through this, we're engaging 58 equity increasing organizations. It really is about the partnerships. It's about what you can do better together instead of developing programs in silos. We have a number of toolkits and resources on our website, on the DUDE website, as well as Missouri Apprentice Connect. Missouri Apprentice Connect, I think we've managed to get everything that was originally on our department website onto MissouriApprenticeConnect.com now. And so on there, you can explore by region, and each region will actually have all of the toolkit components to be able to talk about apprenticeship, understand the process of apprenticeship. We want to be able to help it easier, make it easier for Missourians and the people who serve Missourians. So if you have questions about what's available, please reach out to me. Apprenticeship Missouri believes in informed career pathways. It's only through really looking at the data, establishing relationships and taking care of those relationships that we can ensure that individuals have the best future for them. Yeah, you'll have all types of training providers and excited individuals that think that they have the answer. And they might have the answer, but we probably all need to talk about it and help individuals be able to access the best options. And so whenever we sit down with customers within Missouri Job Centers, we help to provide that labor market information. We help to connect them to the next right step. And really that's what it's all about. I do want to let you know that we have something called Apprenticeship Missouri Virtual Office Hours. Virtual office hours are a chance to engage actually with our various partner champions across the state. We feature a new topic every week, and we discuss actual topics that pertain to workforce development and registered apprenticeship, work-based learning, all of those. And we offer time for question and answers at the end. And we encourage you to access our resources on Missouri Apprentice Connect. That is our connection portal for apprentices. If you would like to join us for virtual office hours or just see what it's about someday, send me an email and I can get you connected. And there's my contact information. I haven't seen anything else pop into the chat, but I am willing to take any verbal questions or questions in the chat. I'd be happy to assist. Also available by email, gina.caldwell@dhewd.mo.gov or apprenticeship@dhewd.mo.gov. I'll hang out if in case anybody has any questions. I have a great question that came in through the chat. Are there resources with apprenticeships for students slash adults with severe disabilities? We do have a number of registered apprenticeship sponsors that have actually went into apprenticeship as a training option to serve individuals with severe disabilities. A couple of those sponsors, Paraquad, Abilities First. We have actually looked at, apprenticeship as far as, who we are serving and what is being reported. And I am sad to say that, self-reporting of individuals with disabilities is very low as far as using the USDOL database and being able to report that. it's not reflective of what the civilian labor population actually should be. It's at 1%, actually in the data. If we look at it, it says that only 1% of apprentices are individuals with disabilities, and we don't think that that's reflective of those that are engaged. So we're doing a lot of work actually to help to not only identify or increase self-identification, but then also to be able to, advocate to employers to make their registered apprenticeship programs more inclusive. So if we make the training more accessible to everyone, then we're making a good choice. I have, looked at, what a lot of employers, consider to be making accommodations, where we should be making our whole work environment more inclusive so that an apprentice can feel more belonging whenever they enter into the job. So we're actually taking a targeted approach to all populations that are underrepresented in apprenticeship. And for me, that the one that's the biggest on my heart is for individuals with disabilities, and being able to ensure that people are able to access the supports that they need on the job, advocate for themselves, being able to disclose and being able to, move through their work experience successfully. We have, examples to where apprenticeship individuals have, engaged in an apprenticeship and had a job coach alongside them, in order to be successful and have those supports and, what they need. Unfortunately, not every mentor is equipped or skilled to be able to provide those services, not yet. But working together with our other state agency partners, with DESE and DESE VR, with DMH and their providers, we actually are creating more opportunities than we ever have been able to. Specifically, if you want to be in contact with programs that are targeting for development, specific population, I have a list of those. Those aren't put out like on publication anywhere, because they usually are so specifically recruiting. But if you want to reach out to me by email, that'd be awesome. I'm happy to share my PowerPoints with any and everyone. Yes.